What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now today I'm looking at a subreddit I haven't looked at in a very long time, and I have to apologize because it's one of the best subreddits out there. It's r/amithejerk. Now this episode is all about couples and just couples drama in general. You'll soon see, but every story has a little bit of a theme. Starting with this one, in which a man gets a vasectomy because of his wife's demands at the young age of just 26. But then, after she divorces him, massively regrets it and says that he'll never speak to her again. My wife divorced me 5 years after making me get a vasectomy. Am I the jerk for not being on speaking terms with her anymore? My ex-wife, she's 32 and I am a 32-year-old man, finalized our divorce proceedings last year. We had a kid when we were 21, got married at 25, and at 26, my wife made me get a vasectomy because she did not want any more kids. I was hesitant because I always wanted more kids, but for the sake of our marriage, I decided to go through with it, and my wife was very happy. However, our marriage went through its ups and downs, and we both amicably decided on a divorce because we weren't compatible. Even after the divorce, we were on good speaking terms, and we were good friends. However, a month after finalizing our divorce proceedings, I went to the doctor to check if my vasectomy could be reversed, and after evaluating everything, the doctor told me it couldn't be. I was devastated, and I really regretted listening to my wife many years ago, who made me get this, and who also then divorced me later. I took a week off work because I was really struggling with this news, and I built up a lot of resentment towards my ex-wife. But for the sake of our son, I acted like everything was normal. However, I decided a week later, after speaking to my sister, that I needed a clean break from my ex-wife and to cut off all communication with her, even though she was my son's mother. My sister let my ex-wife know. The co-parenting arrangements would still be the same, and I would drop and pick up my son, but if my ex-wife attempted to even say anything or speak to me, I would go to the courts, and the co-parenting arrangement could then become extremely complicated. Any further communication with me would be via my sister. It's been almost a year since this arrangement, and my son asks me occasionally why I don't speak to his mum anymore. He told me he's seen his mum crying many times, especially after I drop him off, and when he asks her about it, she says nothing. My sister tells me my ex-wife is very remorseful about it, and if she could take it back, she would. And she's asked multiple times if we could at least communicate normally because she misses talking to me. But I will never go back on it, especially as I've now been dating my current girlfriend for a few months and we're becoming serious. So, the people of Reddit and the people of YouTube and wherever you're listening, am I the jerk? Okay, so let's go through this in order chronologically. I think that is the best thing to do to try and work out exactly what's going on here and if you're the jerk or not. Spoiler alert, I don't think you are, but it's not really about that. Right, first of all, straight away, should you have got a vasectomy in the first place? Probably not, let's be honest, especially not at that age. But there's not really too much point talking about that. That's been and gone. Secondly, and a lot of people are saying this in the comments down below, get a second opinion from another doctor. Just because one surgeon has said that it cannot be reversed does not mean, apparently, according to people in the comments down below, and if you know more about this, let me know in the comments on YouTube or Spotify or whatever, that this cannot be reversed. Also, there are other options for childbirth, so it's not the end of the world for you. Now, thirdly, are you the jerk for not talking to your wife? No. If you don't want to do it, that's on you. I think that's okay. The one thing you do have to make sure is that it's not affecting your child's life. And if it is, then you would have to make concessions for that. However, she did do something pretty bad to you. Forcing you to get a vasectomy, it sounds like, and then divorcing you is pretty tough. Again, though, I would say that is partly on you. You shouldn't have done it in the first place, no matter what she said. But nonetheless, that happened, and yeah, this is now happening, and you feel this way. Don't talk to her. I'm fine with that. Okay, now moving on to our second story. Now, this one is a little bit more serious. There's an update to it as well, and I'll give a slight trigger warning for it too. Am I the jerk for telling my husband that my doctor knows more than him and refusing to forgive him? Hello, everyone. My husband and I had been married for 4 years and been together for 6. And this is the very first huge argument we've ever had. I, a 24-year-old woman, am currently 33 weeks pregnant with his, a 31-year-old man's, baby. When I was 20 weeks pregnant, my doctor diagnosed me with placenta previa, which, if you don't know, is basically when the placenta for my baby is covering the opening in my cervix. They told me it would likely move as my baby grew, but it never did. So I am scheduled for a C-section in just 3 weeks. At 20 weeks, I was put on very light restrictions, but at 30, I got put on heavier restrictions, like no running, no lifting or climbing, no standing for longer than 3 hours at a time, and most importantly, no sex and no vaginal exams. My doctor told me that pretty much we want absolutely nothing that potentially would make me bleed, which could lead to preterm birth. So I've been doing this all for 3 weeks, but it's been driving my husband freaking insane. Every single day, he bothers me for sex. Every single day. Every single day, I tell him I can't, and I remind him of the restrictions. I don't even want to have sex anyway. My tummy is so big and I'm always exhausted. He doesn't really like those answers. Finally, he came to me and started going on about how doctors sometimes dramatize things for the sake of their careers and more money. He said they push for C-sections. I was like, okay, whatever, but I know that I have this condition. Obviously, I'm going to follow the rules. He didn't take the answer though, and we ended up having sex. For a few hours after, I was having really heavy bleeding and I got scared. I was crying in the bathroom, trying to figure out what to do. I ended up calling my doctor and she told me to come in right away. The whole car ride there, I was just sobbing, imagining that in an hour I'd be having a C-section for an only 33-week-old baby. We quickly figured out that I am not in preterm labor. I was just bleeding, and as long as it stops, it will be okay. It did, and I'm fine. But while I was there, my doctor asked my husband to leave and started asking me questions. She asked me if I did anything I wasn't supposed to. She was like, this isn't accusatory, it's okay. It's just better to know if it was caused by something or was random. I told her that I had sex. She just went over all the things again and then gave me a bunch of information on domestic violence. She put them in my purse for me. Literally. I was so embarrassed. When we got into the car, I broke down and yelled at my husband, telling him to never do that to me again and telling him that my doctor knows more than him and knows what is best for me and the baby. He apologized, and I could tell he really meant it. I've still been holding a grudge for days, and he's been groveling for days. He asked me how long I was going to make him apologize for. I told him at least until the baby is born. Am I the jerk for that? Oh my goodness me. An unbelievable start to this one, but there is an update. So that was posted at the time of recording just 5 days ago, and that same day, we got the following update, which I'm going to read before I give my overall thoughts. I wasn't originally going to make an update, just because I was getting into specific detail about my life, and I didn't want anyone I know in real life to find it, but I will, because, well, I don't know why actually. I guess I just got some really good comments. I posted this about 7 hours ago, and I cannot believe how many people have responded. I don't know if I could ever say thank you enough to such thoughtful strangers on the internet. And now at the time of recording, that original post has 26,000 upvotes and over 8,000 comments. And they are, as OP said, unbelievably supportive, but also, as you'd hope, extremely negative about OP's husband doing this stuff. It's just insane. Anyway, let's carry on. So, originally my plan was to tell my doctor and my sister-in-law, maybe my brother, but I wasn't looking forward to discussing those details with him. I rescheduled my weekly appointment with my doctor for tomorrow. I know some people said that I'd be able to just walk in, but I didn't want to do it and then have to make some excuse to my husband. The comments actually made me realize the severity of the situation, and honestly, I'm terrified. Yes, I mean, we are talking about the R word here, let's be realistic. So I called my sister-in-law when she got off work, and we had a really long conversation. I mentioned it in the comments, but my sister-in-law and brother have never really liked my husband. Especially my sister-in-law. She was very supportive and kind, and we talked for a long time. I guess I can now admit that it wasn't just sex, it was the R word. We talked about that more than anything else. And she cleared the whole confusion thing up very quickly. I told her a lot of the things that my mum excused because she likes my husband, and my sister-in-law was livid. I guess I kind of knew she always would be, which is why I never told her. She ended up telling me to talk to my doctor, and she will talk to my brother, and we will see what's going on. She said she will come down on the soonest flight, but my brother cannot come yet because they do have children of their own. I was content with that though, and my appointment with my doctor is tomorrow. My husband got home kind of early and saw how upset I was. I really was planning on getting myself together before he came home, but I didn't have time. Still, I wasn't going to tell him anything, but he was being so kind, which he really usually is. I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. But today especially, he was so kind and so worried about me. I know it was stupid to explain the situation, but I did. I don't know why. I'm just used to telling him my problems, I guess. It was a mistake, and I know that. I'm really trying not to be so stupid anymore, but it's hard to switch from thinking about him as my loving and caring husband to my husband who is hurting me. So, I told him that, and how he hurt me, and honestly, that I'm so scared now. He was like, what? How? I said by forcing me to have sex, by literally forcing my legs apart and telling me to, quote, calm down. He was like, oh my freaking God, don't say that. That's a crime. Do you understand? Do you understand? You just accused me of marital R? And pushed me away from him. I started to apologize, and he started to say it was okay and do that thing where he acts like I'm dumb again. So I finally said, like, yeah, actually, I really do understand that now. It isn't right, and it is marital R. It resulted in a huge argument once again. He called me an idiot for even daring to say those words. I called him an abuser, and he literally laughed. He was like, who are you talking to? You don't know what you're talking about. And started to go on and on about things that I, quote, don't know about. He said that sex with his wife is an R, no matter how you split it. Oh God, those are OP's words, by the way. Just poor choice of words. Let's carry on. I ended up trying to just walk away, but he grabbed me by my wrist. I snatched my hand away and he held up his hands and was like, oh, I'm sorry. That might be considered battery of a pregnant woman if we're going by your definitions. The condescending tone is what really drove me to the edge, and I told him I don't want to be around him. He was like, fine, I'll go. I said, no, I want to go. I want to be away from you. He threw the credit card at me and told me to go and get a hotel then. So I did, and here I am, typing this now. And my sister-in-law is on her way right now. But I am so far from okay. He's called me several times, but I won't answer. I have never seen him that angry before. I'm slightly concerned what he'll do if I genuinely tell him I want to leave and take the baby. He is the one who wanted to have a child, and I was convinced. He won't let me take her easily, and that terrifies me. Every time my daughter kicks, I just want to sob. I never thought that my own baby would make me cry like this, but I'm just so scared. Okay, now what I'm hoping is that OP's sister-in-law gets to her and just backs everything that OP is saying on Reddit up and gives her the confidence to do what she must, what she knows in her heart of hearts she must do, and get away from this man, this horrible excuse for a human being as quickly as possible. For the safety, not just of her, but of her own child as well. Unreal. This guy's an absolute monster. You got to get away from him. Don't care if you love him. Get him out of your life. Obviously easier said than done, but just crazy. Must be a terrifying thought, right? Someone who you loved so much, and you probably do still love, and thought loved you back, and maybe that is his version of love. But the mask slips a bit, and you see what that person is really like, and you try to stand up for yourself, and you just get completely just like slapped back down. I guess all I can say really is just good luck. It's going to be a long, terribly challenging road, OP, but I know that you got the strength to do it, and you should really lean on your sister-in-law and your brother, I think, during this time to get you through it. Goodness me. What a story. Now for our final post of this episode. Am I the jerk for leaving home after my husband said I should handle the cost of all the IVF sessions because I'm the cause of infertility in our marriage? Oh my goodness me. I don't even need to read this. No, you're obviously not. But I will read it anyway. I've been married to my husband for 13 years. We've been trying for so long to have a child, but haven't been able to do so. We've tried many methods and nothing has worked. The mental toll has been a lot for us, so we've taken some time before we try again. A friend of mine suggested we try IVF, and I told my husband. He agreed to the suggestion, but the cost kind of had him hesitating. IVF sessions are costly, yes, but me and my husband have enough savings to afford them. I spoke to him again about it, and he said he wasn't sure that we should take this route. He pointed out how one session isn't guaranteed, and that we'd have to pay for more. Again, I mentioned how he and I can afford it with our money combined. He looked at me intently and then told me that, logically, since I'm the cause of infertility, he thought that I should handle the cost of IVF sessions by myself. Oh my God. I just gotta laugh. That is so stupid. I was shocked. I couldn't even muster a response to what he said. He said it to my face, straight. I felt so hurt that I exploded on him, and he acted like I was being unreasonable, and then said that he was not obligated to pay for my own medical issues. I lost it and decided to pack my stuff and go stay with my mother. No response from him after that. Just a text stating, quote, "Truth hurts," that he sent me when I rejected his phone call. Wow, this guy is just cold. I got blamed by my family, saying that I'm overriding his feelings and that he had the right to open up about how he felt when I kept pushing him about the IVF, especially considering his mental health state from being able to become a father, which is a human right that he has. Sorry, this is your family? Okay. Yes, I do take responsibility for my infertility, but this was too much. Did I overreact? Was I wrong for taking a stance against what he said and leaving? Okay, guys, I think that is going to do it for this episode, because what is the point in me even commenting on this story? Like, it's just, there's just so much wrong with this that I don't even know where to begin. So instead, I will just not comment, because I would have to go through every single word of this and just say how backwards and wrong it was to effectively, you know, give a proper conclusion as to what I've just read and give my thoughts across. That this actually is probably one of the worst things that I've seen on Reddit. The good news is, I guess, if you want to call it good news, is that at least you know who this man is right now. And I don't really want to say this, but in comparison to the previous story where the woman already had a baby, or was was pregnant with his baby, you know, you at least aren't at that stage yet. It's kind of clutching at straws, but it's not a negative thing, is it, that you can get out of it without having a child with this person? But goodness me, it's your medical issue, so you can pay for it, despite the fact that you're both going to be parents to this child and you're supposed to be in a loving relationship. It's really good stuff. If you want more like that, then check out this video on screen. Make sure you're subscribed and listen on all podcast platforms if you'd rather do that. I'm sure a lot of you are listening on podcasts right now. What the hell? Just what the hell?